Eternal Soldier here, and I'm back to talk about Star Wars The Bad Batch, Season 2, Episode 9, and my thoughts on this episode. Well, I mean, it's. I don't know if you can call it a filler episode because it's a two-parter episode. But nothing really happened again. And this also brings up the question of. I thought every time they had a two-parter in the Bad Batch, we were going to have two episodes at the same time, because that's what they've been kind of doing now. Did it at the beginning of the season, and then they did it last week with those two seasons. But then you have another two-parter episode, but you don't release another episode with it. So the release dates of these episodes are ridiculous and confusing. It doesn't make sense. Why are they doing this? I mean, I get that they're probably trying to move this show on because the fact Mandalorian's coming out in a few weeks and maybe they don't want them to collide. Then why not put Bad Batch out earlier? I mean, it's just dumb. But the episode itself, just boring. That's all I can say. We're dealing with Omega, having to deal with issues. Then we got to deal with fucking Tech dealing with his issues. Oh god, nothing really happened in this episode. I mean, yes, there was one big thing that happened, but come on, we all know what's going to happen with that thing that flew away. We all know where that's gone. We all know where they're going to find it. Blah 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 blah. I'm sorry, but Bad Batch has got a problem. It's got no fucking direction. And that's just facts. It's got no direction. Episodes are not exciting to watch. Even last week's 2 episodes. Yes, interesting story. But again, I will say the Battlefront 2 did it better. But this season has not been good. And to continue to have filler episodes, and I'm just going to say it, this does feel like a filler episode. It just feels like they just put a filler episode into 2. And I'm not excited. I don't care. And when you already know what's going to happen at the end of the fucking day, what's the point? So, again, just for me, Bad Batch just seems like they need to end it. Just because why just keep it going? You obviously have no direction for this show. Except concentrating on Omega. And that has been the problem of this show for too fucking long. Well, let's just give it a grade and just get on with the spoilers, because again, it just there's no passion in this review because there's nothing here. This show is just to continue Clone Wars, but Clone Wars was amazing to watch. The episodes were always interesting, every single one, even the filler episodes. But the Bad Batch doesn't have that epicness to it. It's just too concentrated on one team and one girl, and that's the problem with this show. So my grade out of 10 for this episode, a 4. That's the best I can do, a 4. I'm never going to watch this episode again, and I don't really care. So yeah, it's a 4 out of 10 for me. It's just not worth watching. I'm not that bothered about next week's episode. Bad Batch has just gone really downhill since episode 3. Episode 3 is still the best fucking episode. Because it's the only fucking episode that there seems to be any... Well, I'm just going to say it. Any fucking story to it. Any determination to tell us what the Empire does. Not just have concentrated on... Oh, fuck it. Listen, episode 3 is the best episode so far. It still hasn't been topped by anything. And I think that's just a massive problem for the Bad Batch. They need to sort themselves out. So let's go into spoilers now. If you don't want to hear spoilers, leave in 3, 2, 1. So the episode starts off with Bad Batch landing on a random planet to go on a mission for Sid and to mine for Icium or something. or IPM or something. I don't know. It's some rare mineral that they need to find to get for Sid so she can sell it, blah, 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 blah. So basically, it's a Sid mission, so it's obviously going to go wrong, and the Bad Batch are obviously going to fuck it up somehow. Like they've done every fucking time when they go on a Sid mission. So they land on the planet. They get to the mine. Echo and Hunter go into the cave to mine for IPCM or whatever the fuck it's called. And Wrecker and Omega stay outside on watch. And Omega is not doing so well because of the fact Echo has decided to go do something with his life instead of sticking around with a team that work for a lizard. I mean, come on. Of course he was going to go. Throughout this fucking series, he's been asking Hunter, can we go fucking do something useful with our lives? Not just walk around doing sod all for Sid. Why would he stay? I'm very happy for Echo to have left because he's the only one that seems to want to get on with his life and do something with it. Hunter just seems to be stuck on Omega, so is Wrecker, and Tech's Tech. He couldn't care less what he does, just as long as he can use his computers. But yeah, she's still dealing with the fact Echo's left and doesn't understand why he left, because they're a family and all that shit. So, and Wrecker's trying to comfort her. We go into the cave where Hunter and Tech find the IPCM, whatever the fuck it's called. I keep forgetting. I really don't know what the fuck it's called. I keep on it IPCM, or is it IPIM or something? That's that blue stuff. The blue stuff in the caves. So they find the blue stuff in the caves, and well, they start mining it. And it turns out Sid might have got ripped off because the cave's got barely any Inesium. That's it, Inesium. That's what it's bloody called. I completely forgot. Inesium. Anyway, yeah, they find the Inesium. And... whoop, sorry. Find Inesium, they mine it. They get enough to make a profit out of the mine. They have to go get Omega to mine the Inesium, and they grab it. They grab all of it, all they can. They get out of the cave, but it turns out, whilst Wrecker wasn't paying attention, somebody steals their ship. And the Marauder. Somebody steals the Marauder. And the Bad Batch get left on the planet. And Omega is very upset about this because she loves that ship because she thinks it's her home. Wrecker, Hunter and Echo are not that bothered about it because, again, there's not really much they can do. It's already been stolen. So they have to try to reach the nearest town. Tech remembers seeing a little town on the way that he saw on the way in of the mine. So they head to that that village. But whilst they're heading to that little settlement, village, whatever, a stampede of animals run through them. They run for cover. They run to get somewhere high to get away from the stampede. Wrecker gets trampled on by a couple of them. He then drops the IPIM on the ground because I got it in this case thing. Tech has to tell them they need that case to make any money or to get a new ship. So Wrecker jumps down to cover the IPIM or whatever, and he lets the stampede pretty much trample him, but he survives that. Stampede runs by, then the storm hits them, and they're in the middle of a sandstorm. Tech finds a cave. They run into the cave, but unfortunately Tech was the one holding the Icenium and drops it, and it explodes, closing off the cave. So they're now stuck in the cave, and they now have to dig their way out of the cave. But Omega is still kind of dealing with the fact that Marauder got stolen, and when she asks the team about it, they kind of don't seem bothered still about the ship being stolen, and Tech just lays it out pretty much, as simple as he can. Somebody stole the ship, they're probably not going to get it back, and and Omega needs to just deal with it. And Omega acts like a child. I mean, I know she is a child, but she is supposed to be a young adult, so having her strop is a bit ridiculous to me. But yeah, she goes up for a strop because Tech, he's not really a child person. He doesn't really do well with the kid thing. He likes to be just a soldier, just a tech guy. That's all he wants to be. So dealing with Omega is not something he usually deals with. He usually lets Echo or Hunter do that. But Wrecker and Hunter have to tell him he needs to sort this thing out with Omega because you've upset her, and we have to care about that for some reason. I think it's ridiculous, but that's what the show wants to tell us. So he goes after Omega. Omega, at this time, has found a bunch more of the Ipinium, whatever the fuck it's called. I keep forgetting what the fuck it's called. I know that's not what it's called. Ipinium. So. Anyway, Omega finds a shitload of it, then starts mining it, and Tech finds her, and they have a conversation with each other. She's able to mine a hell of a lot of it. She then nearly falls down the cave. Tech grabs her, then falls down the cave with her. They drop to the bottom of the cave, and then they have a massive heart-to-heart talk with each other, where Tech explains that, listen, I don't see emotions the same way you do, but I still feel them. Yes, I feel bad that Echo's gone and Crosshair's gone. Because again, Omega's only lost Echo. Echo. Tech's lost two brothers. He's lost Crosshair. He's lost Echo and Crosshair. And Crosshair is like a brother to him. I know Echo's been on the team for a bit, but Crosshair has been on the team longer. And what I would have loved in this scene is, I would have loved for Tech to explain to Omega that yes, Echo leaving was bad, but Crosshair leaving was a lot more to me than that. Because again, they could have gone to a little story about how maybe Crosshair and Tech were a lot closer to each other. They were, maybe he was the first brother he ever met. You could have gone to a lot of detail with that scene. I mean, the scene's okay, but I would have liked to have seen more. But Omega kind of sees that Tech is hurt by the fact he's lost his two brothers. He does feel emotion. It's just he's more of a Tech guy, and she needs to understand that he can't just always be as emotional as she is. And so they pretty much had a good heart-to-heart with each other. Tech tells Hunter and Wrecker where they are, and you get a funny scene where Wrecker and Hunter jump down the cave, and Wrecker is screaming because he doesn't like heights. And they break out of the cave using the Ipinium and blow a hole in the cave. They get to the settlement. It turns out the settlement's been abandoned. They send a long-range message to Sid, telling Sid to come get them. And Sid does a normal Sid thing by trying to say, how's that my problem? And then when Omega and the Bad Batch pretty much tell her what they've done for her, she pretty much says, fine, I'll try to get somebody to help you, but it might take a few days. But there's a storm coming, so they might not have that long. And then the episode ends on a cliffhanger with them stuck on a planet with a storm approaching. Again, Episode's not great to me. It's a filler episode. It might be a two-parter, but for me, it's just another filler episode. Nothing really happened in this episode. The heart-to-heart with Tech and Omega was okay, but the rest of the episode, pretty boring. I don't know what the plan is for Bad Batch moving forward, but I kind of think they need to let this one go and just end it in 2 seasons, because like, where else can you go with this series? I mean, I get you could try to say they helped the clones escape the Empire. You could do that. I don't know. But from what I'm seeing so far from the latest episodes, I just don't think there's enough good writers at Lucasfilm anymore that can make any Star Wars at the moment exciting. I mean, we are getting Mandalorian in a few weeks, but that show has definitely had a lot of problems from what I've heard online and shit. So, I don't know. Star Wars right now, it's not really exciting. And that's the end of the video. If you like this video, give it a like. If you dislike this video, give it a dislike. And if you like my content, do think about subscribing. Entertainment World Soldier. Bye.